and let it get warm for a minute. And then I'll start putting oil in the carburetors. Sure. Give it a It'll start smoking.
It doesn't smell as good as the race gas.
It doesn't burn as good.
No. Welcome to Wagons of Steel. It's a party and everyone's invited. Well, the season is over. See, it's raining. It's probably not going to stop raining for months. It's just barely almost November. It's the very end of October, which means it's the 13th anniversary of my quitting drinking. So that's how I can afford drag racing. But it's going to be raining for months. November, December, January, February, March. At least 5 months we're going to have rain. And then it'll be drag racing season again. This year, it started later than I wanted it to. I was really hoping that this would be a year where I got to really put a whole program together. I made a video about all the races I was going to do, and in the end, I was able to go to a double divisional at the very end of the season a couple weeks ago in Bakersfield. And that was good. You know, it was fun. I can't complain. I got my health. My family's all doing good. The car is running again. All the work that we did for over the last couple years to try and put a program together paid off. You know, the transmission's excellent. Everything is perfect, and now the engine matches. So we're doing pretty good. Here's the engine just came out of the race car. See if I can get to focus here. It's looking good there. It's all in one piece. Look down there. All the rods are inside the block. It's all sealed up and put to sleep for the wintertime. We learned our lesson a few years ago, and take that engine out of the car in the off season and put it in a warm garage, because otherwise stuff freezes and things break and whatever. Here's a booby prize from a couple of years ago. That still bums me out. I gotta send this thing off to the Toyota foundry, for Christ's sakes. We gotta stop looking at that thing. So what did I learn from this last couple of years, or from the end of the season? What are my plans coming up? A lesson I learned over and over again is don't make promises about when you're gonna race or not. Oh my gosh! Every time I write out a list of the races I'm going to go to, at the very least, it's like weather problems, and at the worst end of it, stuff blows up and just not ready or whatever. But let's start off with I got a lot of thanks to give for. You know, I always got to give thanks to my crew chief, Dr. Big Block, Mike Breno. He's really he's unbelievably awesome asset to the Wagons of Steel team. He gets cranky, and you don't want to get in his way when he's putting stuff together. But boy, he sure does a great job, and he gets better every year. And now he's our transmission guy too, because you know the story of our last transmission guy. And he helped me drive down to Bakersfield, put the engine in the car. You know, it was great to have him along. Steve Wan, who built this engine. I should have gone to him a long time ago. He's a really, really great engine builder, and super nice guy, really generous, and you know, everybody says that about him, and you know, it's true. So, what are we going to do next year? We're going to go back at it, and we're going to go out and do a bunch of racing. We got everything together for this year for the Bakersfield event, and stuff wasn't quite perfect, but we were there with Steve Wan and the whole crew to tell us what to do. We have to put a low first gear set in our transmission and change the rear end gears out of our car from 456 to 1 to 488 to 1. Between the low first gear and the 488 gears, it should leave harder, because getting off the starting line makes a huge difference in the performance of the car. I've heard different numbers, but if you can cut a tenth off your 60 footer, it will give you more than a tenth overall. So, you know, we ran a best time of 10:86 at 125 miles an hour. The 125 miles an hour makes us think that we should be going better ET than 1086. The air in Bakersfield, I mentioned in the last video, was so hot and horrible that it was that took a lot of ET and mile per hour off the car. So who knows what it'll do when we have good air again. But in the meantime, we changed out the gears already when the car was back in the shop. And right now we're hunting down a set of 480 of the low first gear set for the transmission, and we got to put bigger studs in the rear end gears, the rear end axles, because everybody's looking at our studs and saying, "Oh my God, you're just going to break those off one of these days," because we're really putting down a lot of power, and this car weighs 4,000 pounds. So everyone's seen those snap off, and that's a lesson I would just as soon not learn the hard way. So we're going to do that. We had some issues with our MSD box when we were down there. It's a 7AL3, which is at one time was their state-of-the-art ignition box, and they've had issues with it. We've since learned, and we sent them back before, and I sent it back again because we had issues with it, like I say. And it's tempting to just, when we get it back from MSD, put it straight back in, because it'll go right. It was there before, so it'll hook up easily. I don't know. We could change over to a 7AL2, which is what we ran after we had problems down in Bakersfield. That's just stuff to think about. If you have any ideas, put them down below. What else are we going to do? I don't think we have that much to do. I think everything's pretty much good. The seat belts are still in date. I think my helmet's still good. The trailer's good. The tow rig is great, thanks to James Ryland, our crew teammate, Steve Ryland's oldest son, who I've known since he was a tiny little thing. Now he's a qualified Ford technician, and he changed out the EGR cooler and the oil cooler in the engine, my 6-liter in my Ford diesel tow rig. And boy, between that and modifying the catalytic converter, we got back everything we'd lost. It doesn't smoke anymore. We drove it all the way to Bakersfield and back with no problems, knock on steel. Thanks, James. Good work. I'll tell it to you again when I see you in person, but that was really great, and semi-affordable. I mean, you got to pay somebody for good work, but it's the dealership. I don't have to tell you, getting work done in a dealership is crazy expensive. Oh my God. Not to mention, when I brought it to the dealership, they wanted to replace the engine. They said it'll cost $29,000, and there's a 6-month waiting list for the engine, to which I said, stop, send it back. So we immediately brought it back, and that was when I got together with James Ryland. There's a lesson to be learned there. I'm not sure what it is. What else? Can't really think of anything for now. I've just finished off the calendar. So this year's or next year's calendar, the 2025 calendar, will be available. I'm going to be, tomorrow, I'm going to jump on an airplane and fly down to Florida and go sit at Big Daddy Don Carlos' Museum of Drag Racing for the weekend. They have a Mopar show every year, and I'll sell Mopar-related Wagons of Steel shirts and the calendars down there. So if you're in Ocala, Florida this coming weekend, come on by and pick up some swag. I'll shoot some video and make a video about it. I think I did that last year too. And if you need anything and you know how to get in touch with me, I can poke around and see if there's anything there. It's always an interesting swap meet. Swap meets, sometimes they're good. It's Murphy's Law. If you have money, they won't have anything at all you're interested in. And if you don't have money, there'll be a bunch of stuff you've been searching for years. So I've got a little bit of money, so we'll see what that actually means. And I'll see my son, Joe, who's living down there, and my mom and my dad, and Albert, who we stayed with him when we went and raced the Gator Nationals, and maybe some other friends. We'll see. It's always hard to see everyone. I grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida, and so when I go down there, I usually I take the cheesy way out. I don't see anybody except Albert, but it's just easier than hunting everyone down. And then if you don't see anyone, nobody tells other people that you were in town and you didn't see them. I don't know. Seriously, I no promises. We'll see what happens. I'll tell you all about it when we get back. In the meantime, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, and have a good off season, and I'll be in touch.